What's happening, party people? In this video, I'm going to give my opinion on really overall used car values. There's a meme going around that every Volvo's only worth $500. Used Volvos, around 20 years old, something like that. But hey, here's my take on what I think a Volvo is worth. This is really not what I think Volvos are worth, but it's cars in general. When you buy a car, particularly a used car, 15, 20, 25 years old, man, I have no idea why people are looking for low mileage vehicles. Used to be a thing 20, 30, 40 years ago, when engines and transmissions only last 100,000 miles. Not really a thing now. I actually particularly believe that low mileage vehicles are actually in worse shape than high mileage vehicles. People are under the disillusion that a vehicle with low mileage doesn't need as much work as a vehicle with high mileage, and that's simply not true. Usually a vehicle with high mileage has had a lot of work done to it, so a lot of things have already been fixed, repaired, and changed, where a low mileage vehicle is lurking around with those things needing to be done, particularly cars that are not driven almost at all. So here's my take on it. I hope it helps. I hope it sheds some light on it, and take it for what you will. Of course, you all know I travel around a lot. I put anywhere from 35 to 40,000 miles a year on my vehicles each year. I get to see a lot of different vehicles on flatbeds. It's really a mix of what's on those flatbeds. A purpose of you having a car is to have transportation where you can come and go and get to appointments and work and things like that. And that's the bottom line, and comfort and safety, and of course peace of mind. So here's my take on that. I tell people that buy a $500 car, some people brag about it, some people don't, but if that car brand new was $30,000 and you just paid $500 for it because it's old or whatever, and you're driving around in a $500 car, I tell people you are $29,500 away from that car being perfect. Assuming it was perfect when it left the factory. So my take on it is, you want transportation 95% of the time. People are not buying these cars, most cars, for projects. Some do, but for the mass majority and the people I'm addressing, you're buying a car to get back and forth to work, take your kids back and forth to school, go back and forth to the grocery store, stuff like that. So my bottom line opinion on values is, if you could take a key, stick it in the ignition, start the car, drive from point A to point B, whether it's 5 miles or 40 miles, without having to stop, air up the tires, add some kind of fluid, stuff like that, that car is probably worth $1,000. That's just my opinion. If that car is in cosmetically decent shape, it's not all banged up, none of the lights are busted, the brakes do not need to be replaced immediately, the interior is in fair shape, seats are not torn up, the seats work, the heat works, the air works, and you don't have to immediately start putting money into it, my take is that car is probably worth $2,000. The real bottom line is, anything is only worth as much as someone is willing to pay for it. So you can verify what people pay for things through legal records, and on vehicles, fortunate for us, we have DMVs around where people register cars, and usually 15, 20-year-old cars, you get a lot of fraud where they'll pay $2,000 or $3,000. They'll write on the sheet that they paid $500, thus bringing the documented values of vehicles down. A company called NADA, which most insurance companies use to value cars for insurance claim purposes, they get those records from DMVs. They use a lot of dealership sales, which validates the prices a little better, and they publicize on their website what the value of a vehicle may be. So if you're looking to buy a car, I say go to NADA guides, look up the values there, and then read the description of what they consider condition. Perfectly clean is high retail, normally dealer cost. They got a mid-range retail, a low retail, and a trade-in. Rough trade-in is usually a car that's, all banged up. Somebody just traded it in to get some credit toward their purchase, and that car is probably rough, 2 scrapes away from going to the salvage yard. May not even start without a booster. That's bottom dollar the car in somewhat rough shape is worth. So I say use NADA guides. I had a situation not long ago where I had a Volvo 960, probably my favorite car. It was a 97 model. The car was spotless. I used to sell real estate. I was using the car to pick up and take around my real estate clients. Car ran like a top, had about 130,000 miles or so. I sold that car, and people would say, hey, Kelly Blue Book, man, tell Kelly to sell you that car. I'm not giving you my car for $1,700, $2,300. And another thing you can know if a car valuing system is fraudulent is every day the value changes 20, 30, 40, 50%. That's ridiculous. Anyway, I had the car for sale. I was asking $4,500 for the car. I think NADA guys was valuing it at $4,200. I believe my car was in better shape. I've seen some of those cars sell as much as $6,000 at the time. And Kelly Blue Book was bouncing between $1,700 and $2,900 depending on the day you check, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So anyway, I sold a car for maybe $4,500 or $4,350, whatever. And when I sold the car to the lady, I gave the lady a 90-day warranty. I told her do not change the oil while she had it under this warranty period. And if anything went wrong with the car, I'd fix it for nothing. She had one issue with a emissions error code, some kind of valve or something went bad on it. But anyway, the car ran like a top. I heard from the lady a year and a half later, still ran like a top. Now, if you buy a new car, you're getting a warranty, 2-3 years, somewhere up around 30 to 60,000 mile warranty. The car has certain features, and you should not need to do any routine maintenance immediately. What I mean by routine maintenance, you shouldn't have to do a brake job. You shouldn't have to do a radiator flush. You shouldn't have to do fuel filter, stuff like that while it's under warranty. So if you buy a used car 10, 15, 20 years old and it has new tires, new fuel pump, fresh filters, fresh coolant hoses, and really shouldn't need any service for a couple of years, that car may be worth $5,000, $10,000, because you're not going to be putting money into it. Like, I bought Queen B, had a blown engine, the body was not clean, the paint was on the downside, the interior was clean, but had some modifications to it with this trim stuff that's on the dash. That car, I got it for $1,500. Why? Because it was a limited edition model. So, my opinion, if you get an 850R or something like that, limited edition, if the body is in relatively decent shape and it's not even running, I think the car is worth $1,000. If the body is in good condition, may need painting, but it doesn't have a bunch of dents, the interior is clean, and the car starts, runs, and drives, probably $2,000. Even if it's not, clean. Need paint, need some interior sprucing up, maybe need a steering wheel, something like that. So if you find a car as clean as Queen Bee, the outside has been either painted, refinished, no dents, no busted lenses, the interior doesn't have any tears on it, mechanically it's been well serviced, I think you would be hard pressed to find a car in better shape with paying less than $8,000. So in my opinion, a car is in good a shape as Queen Bee and some of these others that I've seen refinished, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 is not a bad price, even though they're old. Now, one caution that you have is that if somebody T-bones it 3 days after you buy it, what's the insurance company going to pay out? That's a problem. You may want to investigate having some special insurance on it, or having an insurance company insure it for more, or getting full coverage on it. Panther has full coverage, Queen Bee has full coverage, and if somebody wrecked one of these cars, I'm going to bat, man. There are people paying $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 for 240s that are in great shape. You got to protect your investment when you spend that much money on a used car. Somehow, some way, make sure you don't let nobody hit it. That would be a problem. So, overall, my opinion is, if a car starts and runs, regardless of how beat up it is, if you can get in that car and drive it somewhere, it's worth $1,000. If the car doesn't have a bunch of dents and dings on it, and it starts and drives past emissions, $1,500 to $2,000. Man, if you went and bought a new car today, spent $25,000 for it, and the warranty's 3 years, in essence, they're saying in 3 years, we don't think the car is worth us fixing anymore. You're looking at paying, $8,000 a year for a car. That's $700 a month. So if you spend $2,000 for a car, and that car lasts you 3 months before you have to do any work to it, that's equivalent to what a new car would cost you. So, that's my take on car values. You can verify cars, I think, truer car value through NADA guides. You can check and see what kind of repairs and maintenance a car would need by having a car mechanic inspect it for you, or an automotive car inspection services. In my opinion, if you pay $1,500, $2,000 for a running R, that's not a bad deal, even if it's a little banged up. I looked at an R yesterday. It can use a fender and a couple of doors so that the exterior is brought up from a 2 to a 3. Couple of doors and the lights and stuff, you can get that stuff for under $400 if you shop it right. Now you're up to $2,500 or $2,200 for an R with a decent exterior. And then the interior stuff, that's not going to be a show car, but it could be a decent daily driver if everything works. That's things to think about. My take on car values. Any car that starts and drives and not banged up is worth $1,500, especially if it'll last you 3-4 months. I don't expect anybody to pay $2,000-$3,000 for a car and drive it for a year without doing anything to it. That's just not reasonable. Almost not even reasonable for a brand new car not to need anything in the first year that you own it. People take new cars to the dealer all the time to get them fixed. My mother-in-law bought one. They couldn't fix it. 2 weeks after she bought it, they had to give her another one. That car was failing the lemon law expectations. So, that's my take on it. I hope that helps. If you got a car that has some rarity to it, collector type thing. That adds some value to it if it's running and driving. That's just my opinion on car values, especially newer old cars. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.